All right, just wanted to do a quick video showing the clock or alarm clock that I came up with. I'm actually going to save this and restart it. You can see that the message is going to come up with when done. That was hard to say. When done, press plus, and it's asking for the hour in 24 in military time. So I'm actually going to say the hour is 23. So I'm using the remote. There's the IR sensor. I do have the 4x4 pad plugged in, but I don't have any code using it. So I'm going to say that the clock is, or the time is 11 o'clock at night. So I'm going to hit plus, and now it asks for minutes. And I'm going to say the minutes are, we'll do 58. So it's a couple minutes before midnight. So you can see there, we've got the top time saying 11:58, and then I even coded up the mark time, which is getting close to 10 o'clock, because it's a 0 to 10 clock time. Yeah. I did set up an alarm. Oh, I also set up the backlight. If I hit the plus button or power button, the backlight will turn on and off. So that was one other feature. And then if I hit play, it's going to go into alarm mode. So it's going to say, okay, what time do you want the alarm? And I'm going to say the alarm is going to be at 0 o'clock and 0 minutes. So right at midnight. So the alarm is set. There's no signal or no on-screen display saying the alarm is turned on, but it should be set in the code. And so we have another minute. So while that's waiting, some of the code that I've got here is the full list of buttons. You can use these. It's probably easier just to copy and paste them from, spitting them out to the serial monitor and then just copying and pasting from there. I do mention that when you do, if you use the IR and you set this to, and you run the read pulses function, I found it a whole lot easier to say blocking equals false. And then you do want to check and make sure that pulse is none if it didn't get a signal. And if it is, then just return none. Otherwise, then you can continue on down the code calculating the hex value. And if we look on the clock here, we're about to hit midnight. And so now you can see it says alarm for a couple of seconds, and then it goes back to the clock. So the alarm does work-ish. There's no other, it's not going to wake you up too much. I'll probably post this button code just because it's not that it's hard, but it's, kind of helpful. The LCD code is all similar to what we've done in the past. Some other helper functions that I'll post are the fixed time value. This just takes a value coming in from a clock, and if it's 1 digit long, then it's going to add a 0 to the beginning of it. Otherwise, it'll just return it. This get time function here is going to return back the hour, minute, and seconds based on what was initially put in, and the start variable. Oh yeah, you probably do need to set the start min and the start hour to whatever the user put in. Those are a couple other variables to have in there. If you want to see how get mark time is calculated, that's right there, but it's not that big a deal. This is a function I did for getting the user input. So this is going to print out a certain prompt based on whatever you pass it in the function. It will it'll print that, set it to the second line, and wait for you to put a value in. If the button value is the plus, then, or not the plus button, then it'll come into this section, get the code that was entered, calculate the from the hex value, the code string, what the actual kind of button press was, And then just checking again to make sure that the button value wasn't plus, and if it wasn't, then it adds the value onto the previous value. And then when we're all done and you've hit plus, it'll return the value. So that get user input gets called down here. This is an example of calling it. So the hour should come back from this first call where you pass it the hour prompt, which is just a variable I have up here. Hour prompt equals hour 24 question mark. And then minute value equals get user input minute prompt. And so then set the hour to the integer value of the hour that was input and the minute to the integer value of the minute. Previous time and previous mark time are just so that I only change the LCD screen when I need to. And then I have some variables for the alarm clock. Default the LCD backlight to true, and then we actually get into the main while loop. So up until this point, we haven't been in a while loop. We've just been kind of ticking down through kind of the initialization. So here we have our start value that we call time.monotonic at this point. And then here's how you use that get time function. You call it, but you grab the hour, minute, and seconds in order. So if we go back up to the get time function, we talked about this a little bit in class, but you can see here the return function returns back 3 values. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. And so when they come back here, you grab them 1, 2, 3, and format them for use later, and get the mark time based on those values. So if the now time doesn't equal the previous time, so essentially this is going to loop. I don't have any sleeps. So this loops often, calculates the time often, but only when it changes will it update the LCD screen. So then we keep track of the previous time. If the alarm is on and the hour equals the alarm hour and the minute equals the alarm minute, then it prints alarm for a couple of seconds and turns the alarm back off again. And then if sets the cursor on the LCD screen to the upper left corner, prints the time, sets the LCD cursor to the second line, and prints the mark time. And then we're done with that if statement. And then it'll come into here and grab a check to see if there was a code entered on the IR remote. And then if the button value equals power, then it'll toggle the backlight. And if it equals play, then it'll go in and get the user input for the hour for the alarm and then the minutes for the alarm like you saw on the screen, turns the alarm on, and well, that just keeps looping. So I've got a pretty small while loop because I'm using some of these functions, especially the get user input function really makes things a lot easier and allows you to just kind of pull for the value until again you press whatever is get user input until you press whatever it is that kind of it means enter. So I chose the plus key. You can choose whatever you want there, or if you're using the 4x4 button, you can use pound or star based on how you want to do that part. So that's my alarm clock so far. Hope this gives you some ideas, and let me know if you need any help. Good luck.